Since 2003, this is the Sports Source, East Tennessee's #1 sports talk show.
Presented by Pipe Wrench, and by Junk Be Gone, and by the Garza Law Firm.
With your host, John Pennington. The Sports Source starts now.
Good Sunday morning. Welcome into the Junk Be Gone studios for today's Sports Source. We appreciate you being with us, as always. We've got so many shows coming up during the holidays. We're going to be live, Christmas Eve live, New Year's Eve, we'll tell you that, but all holiday long. I know people are in and out of town. They're moving around. You got stuff to do. Thanks for being with us. Today we're going to be talking about Tennessee's 79-70 victory over NC State in San Antonio late last night. It was a night when the Vols offense and rebounding kind of outshone the defense a little bit. Also a night when Dalton Knecht wasn't connecting, but others did. We'll tell you who, and we'll throw a little praise their way coming up. But let's tell you what all's in this show. There's a lot. Takeaways from Tennessee versus NC State. The Vols need more from who? Is Tennessee the SEC favorite in basketball this year? Our VFLs will join us to talk a little bit about UT Bowl preps heading into the Citrus Bowl down in Orlando. Portal positives and negatives, and a surprise. One move that I didn't see coming that we'll be telling you about a little later. Past SEC freshman quarterbacks and their performances. What does that tell us about Nico Iamaleava? College football TV ratings. I'll show you how the Vols stack up against other teams, and we'll look at the SEC Big Ten comparisons. Those are interesting. 2024 schedule reactions and a poll just for you to give us your opinions. This first segment of our show brought to you by the Garza Law Firm. This is the time of the year that's about helping all those people around you who need it. That's why the Garza Law Firm supports fishpantry.org each and every year, and they ask you to as well. Send your Christmas card list, and this is the last week you can do this, so you got to get on it quick. Send your Christmas card list to Fish Pantry. They'll address, stamp, and mail cards for you. Only cost you $5. Just send a big long list of people you want cards going to. They'll send them out. It only costs you $5. It's $5 to help end hunger in East Tennessee this Christmas. Fishpantry.org. And just kudos to the Garza Law Firm that you can find at garzalaw.com for always being a big part of this community and for supporting such a great cause year in, year out. Marcos Garza and his team do a tremendous job. garzalaw.com. All right, let's welcome in the first half of today's panel. We got three more guys waiting in the wings, but our first three are right here. Jimmy Himes, Will West, and former D1 basketball player, former Vol assistant coach Mark Pankratz. Guys, thanks for being here. And thanks for coming in after sitting up late to watch that Tennessee basketball game last night. The Vols won. Oh, let me go ahead and put the poll up. Sorry. Let's go ahead and do the poll first. I almost forgot. We got to get you involved. What's the bigger story from the transfer portal right now? Who UT is gaining, who UT is losing, or who UT is keeping? You tell us what you think is more important. Which of those stories are you focused most on? Who they're keeping from the current roster, who they're gaining, or who they're losing? You tell us, click the QR code with your smartphone there, or visit us at sportsource.tv/polls and tell us. We always like to get your feedback on these things. We'll keep it going throughout the show, so keep clicking. All right. Tennessee 79-70 winners last night. Josiah-Jordan James came up big. 23 points, added a bunch of rebounds. Zakai Zeigler with his best offensive night of the year, 19 points, hit 4 3-pointers. Mark, to me, they look like a team that has played a tough schedule, that has a bunch of veterans on them, because when NC State made a couple of runs, it was almost like the big brother just put his hand on the little brother's head and said, no, you're not getting any closer. I thought they showed the stick-to-itiveness you want to see from a veteran basketball club.
Yeah, and I think their depth was really on display last night. You see Tobe stepped up, Meshack continues to step up, and you got the usual suspects in Triple J and those guys. It was a good win. I think what they learned from Georgia Southern and the lashing that Barnes gave them by how they ended that game prepared them for that game against NC State.
Takeaways, gentlemen?
Well, I didn't think the majority of the starters played that well. I thought only two played really well, and that would be James and Zeigler. And then I thought the two off the bench that Mark mentioned, I thought those were key. I think if they didn't get what they got out of Awaka and what they got out of Meshack, I'm not sure they win that basketball game. And Knecht had a bad game. The thing about Knecht, he's got to learn how to impact a game when he's not scoring. And he's not doing that right now.
Yeah, I just thought that this was kind of an old school Big East basketball war is what it looked like. And I thought, especially Zakai, I thought it was incredible the way he was able to kind of be the floor general there. And you saw over and over again, you'd run your set, nothing's there, back out to Zakai, let's do this again. And I thought it was really disciplined play from the point guard position. And I think that led to a lot of Tennessee's baskets.
Let's go ahead as we continue this conversation. Let's go ahead and put the shot charts up, and we'll show you the Vol box score here in a second as well. Tennessee shot chart. Red is better. That shows you where they were shooting from. NC State's is on the right. Blue is bad, so you kind of get an idea. Tennessee was shooting pretty well last night from outside the arc and then inside. That nobody wants the 2-point jumpers, but they were hitting them last night. Mark, talk to me about Dalton Knecht. Was it just a product of him not being on? Was it the way NC State defended him? Was it DJ Burns, all 400 pounds of him in there, and the guy looks like me.
Yeah.
He's turned into a tank.
Yeah.
Was it him in the middle? What was the issue for Dalton Knecht last
Give
night?
NC State credit. I mean, they beat him up. They were physical. They were really getting in help defense, getting in gaps, making, putting all eyes on him whenever he was trying to score the basketball. He's got to learn, like Jimmy was saying, to continue to play defense, but also he doesn't have to make the home run offensive play. He's trying to make that highlight type step back jump shot, go to the basket and dunk it. He's got to learn to play his system because he's got guys that can shoot the basketball. I mean, Josiah is playing at a high level right now. He's got to learn how to play within that system, and it'll end up making the game a lot easier for him.
Yeah, do we remember the LeBron, D. Wade fit out versus fit in conversation? It just seems like Dalton Knecht doesn't seem to be able to fit what Tennessee's trying to do unless he's going in ISO and taking it to the rack or doing the fall away. I'd like to see him, especially in those plays where he does draw the double team. Somebody's open, right?
Yeah.
So dish the ball at that point.
He's turning it over a lot when he gets into traffic like that, when he takes it to the basket. He had the worst plus minus. You can debate the merits of that. But he had the worst plus minus of all the starters. But he didn't come up with rebounds. He didn't come up with assists. I think he had one steal. He just has to do other things when his offensive game is off. And I didn't think he played very good defense either. They hurt him on a pick and roll a couple of times.
I do want to make sure we don't over tilt on like bashing the Knecht because I mean he's had a great season thus far.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he's got to just continue to learn how to play. When a team is so focused on a guy like they are right now with Knecht, it does open things up for Josiah. It's making the game easier for Josiah. It's making it easier for Zakai to be able to drive it and not have help when you got Knecht on your wing. So it's the defensive side that I think he's got to continue to learn how to play. And then just making the easier pass, not having to make the home run play on offense.
And mentioning Zeigler had 2 backcourt steals that led to easy baskets. And I'm thinking when it was like 60-60 with 7 minutes left, if he hadn't had those 2 steals, NC State might have had the lead. I thought those 2 steals in the backcourt were important.
One thing that worries me about this basketball team, if you look at their numbers compared to everybody else, the other 361 teams in the country, they are very low down the chart in terms of drawing fouls, and they're high in terms of getting fouls called on them. I have a feeling that we're going to be talking about this all year, that Tennessee's guys are going to consistently be in foul trouble, and the other team's always going to get 10 to 15 more free throws than you are. You saw that again last night. I don't know if there's anything to change that at this point, but it is a concern for me because if you get into a game in March, your guys are in foul trouble, the other guy keeps going to the line, that's not a good prescription for victory.
Well, there was a point last night where NC State had hit 7 more free throws than Tennessee had. Tennessee's up 6. That's a 13-point game as opposed to a 2-possession game, right? It's a massive difference maker for Tennessee. And I think getting into the lane the way that they did, because it's something the Marks talked about for a while, points in the paint doesn't just have to be put your backs out on the block and take the entry pass and go. I think that driving into the lane is going to get your guys to the foul line as well. So it's kind of twofold. You get the points, you get the free throws.
Thoughts on that issue? I mean, this is a team that likes to work inside out. I'm a little surprised that you're just not. You are so far behind in terms of a deficit with free throws at this point, and in terms of personal fouls called against you and drawn against the other team.
Yeah, we're more of a jump shooting team at this point in the season.
As you saw in that shot chart.
Yeah, and the other thing you look at Zakai, he had some great plays, and I think he did lead the team and dictate tempo as a point guard. But he drove to the basket twice and missed bunnies at the rim. And so from a scouting report standpoint, I'm not helping off of Zakai. I'm letting Zakai get downhill and make him finish at the rim and not allow those easy open three-pointers.
I counted 6 missed layups or dunks in the first half, and at least 3 more in the second half. Not all by Zeigler, of course, but by the team.
We'll talk a little bit more about Zeigler next. We're going to do a little bit of a Well, I'll tell you in a second. But first, let me give you another tease. It's 2 teases back to back. I'm going to tease what we're doing the next couple of weeks. It is our 20th, and this is our 21st year. But our first year, we didn't have a big Christmas show. So this is technically our 20th Holiday Spectacular. We will be live here on Christmas Eve, 11 till 12:30 as usual. It's going to be festive topics. It's going to be fun, just a packed house, weird clothes. It's going to be a lot of red, a lot of green. I got a jacket that I can't wait to break out. It's going to make me look like a Macy's Thanksgiving Day parade float, but hey, it's cool. And then New Year's Eve, we're going to be live at 11 a.m. as well. Citrus Bowl preview right here. We're going to have latest news from Orlando, the Keys, and of course some history. I'm going to look back at some past Citrus Bowls for Tennessee. But let's tell you what we got when we're coming back. On the other side of this break, we're going to talk to you about what players need to step up. So we're going to do a little fill in the blank. Tennessee needs more blank from blank. It's match game. Next on the Sports Source.